Today we're going to take a look at mastering Rails performance in 2025. Trust me, you don't want your app to be the slow one that no one sticks around for. We're going to break down the fastest ways to speed up your Rails apps, to avoid the common traps you're going to fall into, and to actually stay ahead in a world where milliseconds can make or break your user experience. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to squeeze every ounce of speed out of Rails, all without losing your sanity or rewriting your whole codebase. Performance isn't just about fast pages, it's about happy users, higher retention, and apps that actually scale. Rails has come a long way, but 2025 brings new challenges. More traffic, richer apps, bigger databases, and if you don't optimize properly, your app might keep crashing. Now, getting a good, fast Rails app is not just for elite devs. It's doable if you understand the right strategies and know what to avoid. Let's start at the heart of it. Why Rails apps slow down in the first place. Most people think it's just database queries, but the reality is more layered. You've got database load, view rendering, n+1 queries, memory bloat, and now with Rails 8 and beyond, even Hotwire and turbo streams can add unexpected performance costs if not handled properly. n+1 queries are the silent killers of Rails apps. You might think everything is fine until one user triggers hundreds of queries by just loading a page, and then your server is choking. The world famous fix is eager loading, but it's not just about throwing includes everywhere. You need to understand associations, your data patterns, and which parts of your app users actually hit the most. Blindly eager loading can backfire if you pull too much data at once. Another really important thing is database indexing. Indexes are cheat codes for your queries. They let your DB jump straight to the rows you need instead of scanning the whole table. Nowadays, with apps scaling into millions of records, skipping indexes is like trying to find a needle in a haystack by hand. You need to make sure you don't just index everything blindly. Look at your slow queries, use tools like explain, analyze, and make smart choices. If you actually place your index well, you can shave off seconds off heavy pages. But speed isn't just about the database. Your Ruby code itself can be a bottleneck. Ruby is powerful, but not always the fastest language out there. That's why profiling is your best friend. You can use Rack Mini Profiler or Bullets or even newer AI-assisted tools. Look for repeated calculations, unnecessary object allocations, or complex loops. Caching is another massive lever. Rails has a rich caching ecosystem, from page caching to fragment caching to low-level caching. But the trick these days is knowing what to cache and when to expire it. User-specific pages, you need to not cache the whole page, but maybe cache fragments like navigation or repeated widgets. And with edge caching at CDNs, your app can serve content faster than ever, even to users across the globe. And then there's background processing. Not every job needs to happen right now. Email sending, image processing, report generation, these need to move to background jobs with Sidekick, ActiveJob, or other modern queuing systems. Offloading the work is extremely important because it improves the perceived performance for users, but also reduces peak server load. But don't forget about concurrency and multi-threading. Rails has actually massively improved here, especially with the advent of async query support and better thread safety. Puma and other servers now handle more requests per second if your code is ready for it. But I do advise you to be careful because thread safety is tricky. Shared mutable state can break your app in ways that are hard to debug. Stick to immutable data where possible and keep an eye on gem compatibility. Front-end performance matters too. Rails is no longer just server-side rendering. Turbo, Hotwire, and Stimulus, they're really good, but they can slow down your app if you send too many partial updates or large payloads. So it's important to limit your DOM updates and actually compress assets properly. Even just a 200 millisecond difference can feel like an eternity to a user. Now here's the problem most Rails devs hit. They might do all of the obvious fixes like indexes, eager loading, caching, but they still struggle under load. And that's because performance isn't just made of one thing. It's the sum of many small improvements across the stack. And that's where Rails monitoring tools comes in. Tools like New Relic, Skylight, or Datadog let you see exactly where your bottlenecks are. Without this data, are your users waiting on database queries? Is view rendering slow? Is background job processing lagging? Without this data, you're basically guessing. Imagine a SaaS app with 50k users hitting dashboards simultaneously. Users complain pages are slow. The first step is the profile. You see that a specific query is taking 500 milliseconds per request due to n+1 issues. Fix that with eager loading, trim down the data, and add caching for repeated queries. If the image thumbnails are processed on demand, you can move them to a background job and store pre-processed images in an object store. You need to compress, bundle, and leverage CDN edge caching, and after all this, your performance will have improved dramatically without rewriting the entire app. But we also need to talk about memory bloat, because Ruby isn't always the most memory efficient language, and Rails adds overhead. Garbage collection tuning, avoiding large object allocations in hot paths, and using tools like Memory Profiler or derailed benchmarks can make a big difference. Sometimes reducing memory usage is just as impactful as shaving off query time because it prevents swapping and keeps your app responsive under load. But security and performance go hand in hand too. HTTPS, TLS overhead, and secure headers are non-negotiable. You can offload TLS termination to a reverse proxy or a CDN, enable HTTP/3 for faster connections, and make sure compression is enabled without breaking security. Rails performance isn't just a single tweak, it's about thinking across the stack: your database, your Ruby code, your caching, your background jobs, your front end, your infrastructure. It's about measuring, testing, iterating, and never assuming things are fast just because they worked yesterday. So in summary, if you're having issues, start with profiling to identify the real bottlenecks. Fix N+1 queries and database issues first. Then secondly, implement smart caching. And then thirdly, offload heavy work to background jobs. Fourth, you need to pay attention to front-end performance. And finally, you need to monitor everything continuously. Guys, I hope this helped you understand how to improve Rails performance in 2025. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next one.